Mental poverty always appears before financial poverty. Before the bank account is empty, the standards are. Before the body weakens, the discipline does. Before opportunity disappears, responsibility does. Most people focus on the visible outcome. Low income, poor health, limited options. They call it bad luck. They call it the economy. They call it circumstance. But external struggle often begins as internal decay. To be mentally broke is not about intelligence. It is about standards. It is excuse-driven thinking. It is blaming the system without examining behavior. It is avoiding responsibility because responsibility feels heavy. A mentally broke man protects comfort at all costs. He wakes up when he feels like it. He spends without tracking. He consumes more than he produces. Short-term pleasure becomes priority. Scrolling replaces study. Entertainment replaces skill development. Complaints replace execution. He fears discomfort. Not extreme discomfort, just the small daily kind. Waking early, training when tired, saying no to impulsive spending, admitting he lacks skill in a valuable area. He lowers standards quietly. He tolerates average performance. He accepts weak discipline. He surrounds himself with people who validate stagnation. Over time, this internal standard becomes normal, and what you normalize, you repeat. Mental poverty is subtle. It sounds like, I will start next week. It sounds like, this is just how things are. It sounds like, I deserve a break. Before money is lost, structure is lost. Tracking disappears. Planning disappears. Intentional effort disappears. Before the body weakens, mindset weakens. Gym sessions become optional. Nutrition becomes emotional. Sleep becomes inconsistent. What looks like external decline is internal negotiation. The mentally broke man negotiates with discipline daily. He promises effort, then adjusts when it feels inconvenient. He sets goals, then protects comfort. He says he wants change, but resists routine. Routine is what he needs most. A weak internal world creates external weakness. If your thoughts are reactive, your actions will be reactive. If your standards are low internally, your outcomes will match them externally. You cannot consistently build wealth with a disorganized mindset. You cannot build strength with inconsistent effort. You cannot build confidence while breaking promises to yourself. Confidence is not loud belief. It is evidence. Evidence that you follow through. The mentally broke man sabotages himself quietly. He defends bad habits. He calls laziness rest. He calls lack of planning flexibility. He calls impulsive spending reward. He protects patterns that are draining him. Because correcting them requires discomfort, and discomfort challenges identity. Accountability feels threatening to someone who survives on excuses. Ownership feels heavy to someone who prefers blame. But without ownership, leverage is impossible. Wealth begins with discipline, not with opportunity. You manage $10 with structure before you manage 10,000. You track small expenses before you scale income. Financial discipline is behavioral. It is controlled spending, intentional saving, skill investment, long-term thinking. Physical strength begins the same way, not with inspiration, with repetition, daily training, progressive overload, meal control, sleep discipline. Strength is not built in public, it is built in routine. The mentally broke man waits for motivation. The disciplined builder relies on structure. The mentally broke man spends what he earns and hopes for more. The disciplined builder invests what he earns and plans for growth. The mentally broke man avoids mirrors. Financial mirrors, physical mirrors, behavioral mirrors. He does not track numbers because numbers expose truth. The disciplined builder examines metrics regularly. Income, expenses, body composition, skill progression. He treats data as information, not as insult. High standards are uncomfortable at first. They expose gap between current behavior and desired outcome. But high standards create alignment. You either rise to them or you face yourself honestly. Self-respect grows when you do difficult things consistently, when you train even when tired, when you save even when tempted to spend, when you study even when distracted. Private correction is a sign of maturity. You adjust spending habits quietly. You refine workout discipline silently. You cut toxic habits without announcement. The world may not notice immediately. That is irrelevant, because transformation starts internally, long before it appears externally. Identity shift comes first. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances. You stop seeing yourself as unlucky. You start seeing yourself as responsible. Responsible for skill level, responsible for effort, responsible for emotional control. Ownership mentality changes behavior. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You ask, where am I weak? Instead of complaining about lack of money, you develop a valuable skill. Instead of resenting your body, you train it. Financial discipline compounds. A saved dollar becomes investment capital. A developed skill becomes leverage. A consistent reputation becomes opportunity. Physical discipline compounds. Increased strength improves posture. Improved posture affects presence. Presence influences negotiation, confidence, perception. These areas connect. Mental wealth precedes physical wealth. Mental strength precedes physical strength. If you stay broke mentally, you will stay broke physically, because your behavior reflects your belief system. If you believe effort is optional, you will act accordingly. If you believe comfort is priority, you will choose it. But if you believe discipline is non-negotiable, your actions shift. The discipline builder does not rely on bursts of intensity. He builds systems, budgeting systems, training schedules, skill development blocks. He thinks in years, not pay periods, not seasonal motivation. Delayed gratification becomes normal. He invests today for results he will see later. He accepts that friends may not understand temporary sacrifice. He accepts that growth requires isolation at times. He is not extreme, he is precise. Precise with time, precise with money, precise with attention. Emotional control protects progress. If you spend when stressed, financial discipline collapses. If you eat when frustrated, physical discipline collapses. If you quit when criticized, skill development collapses. Emotional regulation is financial intelligence. It is physical intelligence. It is strategic intelligence. Most people want results without identity shift. They want wealth without budgeting, strength without routine, confidence without follow-through. That is fantasy. Reality is quieter. You wake up, you execute, you track, you adjust, over and over. The external world eventually mirrors the internal one. If your mind is structured, your life trends towards structure. If your standards are high privately, your results rise publicly. The question is simple. Are your standards aligned with your goals? Or are your habits aligned with comfort? Be honest. Look at your calendar. Look at your spending. Look at your physical condition. They reflect internal beliefs. Nothing changes externally until it changes internally. And understand something critical. Mental wealth is built long before financial wealth appears. It is built in how you think about effort, how you respond to pressure, how you allocate attention. If your first reaction to difficulty is avoidance, you are draining your own leverage. Avoidance feels harmless in the moment. You delay a task, you ignore a bill, you skip a workout. You postpone a hard conversation. Individually, these decisions seem small. Collectively, they shape identity. An avoidance pattern becomes a lifestyle. And that lifestyle produces predictable outcomes. The mentally broke man tells himself he works hard, but effort without structure is scattered. He tries different things every month. New ideas, new shortcuts, new plans. There is movement, but no direction. Discipline requires boredom tolerance, repetition, consistency. Predictable routines. Most people quit not because something is impossible, but because it is repetitive. They confuse boredom with lack of progress, but boredom is often the gateway to mastery. Financial stability is boring at first. Tracking expenses daily is not exciting. Investing small amounts consistently is not impressive. Training the same compound lifts weekly is not glamorous. Studying fundamentals repeatedly feels slow. But that slowness builds depth, and depth creates resilience. If you refuse to stay mentally broke, comment, "I choose discipline."